Hi, and welcome to our Oz Tantric webinar. Tonight's topic is learning ejaculation control and how to last longer. And my name is Graham.
My name is Annette. His name is Graham.
Yeah, so long as we've got that clear. And welcome. And we'll get straight into this. I've still got the ear plug in, so I can just check that the technology is working. And then always the first 30 or 40 seconds, it's always a bit of a mystery. And guess what? Technology works. So.
And just remembering that here at Oz Tantra, we're all about creating healthy, passionate and vibrant relationships that bring meaning and real enjoyment and feelings of value and a sense of self-worth in life.
Yeah, and tonight's topic in particular is focused at men, but also to for the women that are for the women that are choosing to watch as well. You have a role to play in this as well, so you're not separate from what happens, with the lovemaking with your partner. And my gosh, those crickets are loud. We better close some windows, I think.
Okay, just hang on one sec.
All of a sudden, they started up, and it's got really noisy.
Okay. Just keep talking amongst yourselves.
And tonight's subject is very specific for men, and also too for women with a man in your life. And
because as women, we really want to have you guys lasting as long as we can, because that means more pleasure for us.
Sorry for speaking while you're interrupting, but anyway. So for men, it's very specific around what we're talking about, and sort of to put it into context that on average, because we deal with a lot of men, a lot of couples, and different age groups, different demographics, right across the board. And what we've noticed is that most men only get to somewhere between 5 and 10% of their capacity for pleasure out of their sexuality. And you might think, that's pretty
sad,
but true. But unfortunately, it's a fact of life. And even these guys that sort of imagine themselves as as the ultimate lover, they really do have a limited sense of pleasure around their sexuality. And what I mean by that is that just to give you a map of what what we're actually going to be talking about is that ejaculation and orgasm for men are two separate functions. Because they happen at the same time, it's easy to sort of, they're the same thing. They're not. And a lot of men, particularly if you're trigger sensitive, your ejaculation is very, very pleasurable. And when that happens quickly, or you sort of choose to come quickly, what happens is that's where you really feel. You don't really get into your orgasmic pleasure.
And if we're talking about the differences, the orgasm is the pleasurable feeling that happens when you come, and the ejaculation is the release of the semen that happens at the same time.
Thank you.
For the peanut gallery.
Yeah, and they're very, very different. So if this is something that you're not aware of, really important to understand that a lot of what we're talking about in learning how to last longer is the understanding that these two are separate, and it's not about not coming. It's about actually delaying it long enough so you get to feel more of your orgasmic pleasure. And when you do feel more of your orgasmic pleasure, it becomes a choice that whether you come or not. And after a while, you feel a lot more by not coming. And it's not something that you should aim to do, it's something that you choose to do. And if at the moment that you choose to, to still have your ejaculation or your coming, that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's probably more so as you get older that you become more aware. Like when you're younger, the testosterone is a very powerful force in a man, and that's what drives our sexuality. But as we get older, that testosterone drops away, fades away. And that's what male menopause is all about, is when that testosterone hormone is basically lost its impact. And when that happens for a lot of men, they think their sex life's over. You hear the midlife crisis. And what it's about is trying to claim back what they've lost. And it's not going to happen. What actually happens is that you have...
Once you get a new girlfriend in a Ferrari, then it can last for a little while, but ultimately changes are happening that need to be addressed.
Yeah, that's what they call it, menopause. So, with menopause, it's not that your sex life is finished, it's different. And the difference is that you have a choice And it's like not being hormonal driven, but you now have a choice as to how your sexuality is, what it looks like, and how it can be. And if in your life you've been stuck in the rut of, get it up and get it over and done with, the menopause is going to be quite a frightening time for you. And if this is you and it resonates, it's perfectly okay. The skills to get back into your sex life are not that difficult. A lot of what we're talking about tonight will be aimed at men learning how to understand their sexuality, and also too learning how to last longer, but in a way that actually puts you in control of your sex life, so that when you choose to have more pleasure, that makes more sense. And it's about having the choice and being constructive in your choice in a way that actually works for you
and for your partner. And one of the most important points about this particular talk is that there's recognizing that there's a lot of ways of lasting longer that are out there that are really about delaying your pleasure or trying to control or manipulate and limit your pleasure. And what we're going to talk about tonight is how to actually last longer but have more pleasure at the same time. And it's really important. Why should guys just have those few seconds of pleasure at the last minute in sex? Why don't they get to have pleasure all the way through, feel it in your body? Because it's exciting for you as a man when you see a woman having a great time and being orgasmic and feeling pleasurable. And it's exactly the same for her. When a woman's experiencing a man in that place, it's very delicious. You become very juicy.
And it's not about changing what you're currently doing. It's about actually being different in how you are and what you're actually doing. And it doesn't, and I'll be blunt, it's not easy. And probably the hardest hurdle for most men to get over is letting go of the addiction that they've got to coming. And if you feel that that's where you're at, that you feel like that if you don't come, what's the point? A lot of that could be about the fact that, your lifestyle, and this is normal for most men, is that, when you start becoming sexually active, it's get up and get over and done with before you get caught. If you start masturbating or self-pleasuring, get it up and get it over and done with before you get caught. The next stage is, when you've got a girlfriend or something like that, is get it up and get it over and done with before she changes her mind. And then, when the kids arrive, it's get it up and get it over and done with, before the kids wake up.
Definitely know that one.
And when you get older, it's get it up and get it over and done with before you lose your erection. So, broadly speaking, for most men, it's get it up and get it over and done with. And it becomes an addiction to, get it up and get it over and done with. And that habit, if this applies to you, is very, very hard to break. And
because it's all of a sudden you're actually now wanting to last a long time. All your life you've been trying to get it over with. Now you're trying to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, and if this is something that applies to you, it's not that difficult. The hardest part is to get past this addiction thing. And if you're on the other side of the coin too, where you've lost your ability to get an erection, go to the doctor and get checked out. And if you're on medication, just ask your GP if that's not impacting on you. And the other part of it too is that a lot of emotional baggage that we have around our sexuality, we carry in our genitals, and how that plays out is numbness, premature ejaculation, are pretty opposite symptoms of the same issue. And and if you do get it up, that you can go for a long time and not come, you're numb. So, and all these things are emotional. There are physical, issues that can impact on that too, and that's why it's important to go and see your GP. And if you're on some sort of medication to assist you in, in your sexual function, that, just remember that, a lot of the time behind the scenes is also emotional stuff. And if it's left undealt with, the impact stays there. The medication will help, but over time, the medication probably won't be as effective. So it's important to also look at doing your emotional stuff. And it can be as simple as, just having a Skype session with us or something like that. I mean, we do a lot of this work, and we know what to look for, and we know how to point you in the right direction.
And you may not have heard it before, guys, but whether you feel your emotions or not is actually important in regards to how much sexual pleasure and how sexually you can perform in the bedroom to really have pleasurable lovemaking, not just to scratch your itch and get it over with, but to really make the most out of your sex life. It's learning how to feel your emotions as well, because if you don't, they end up stuck down energetically. Your emotions exist in the body as energy, and if you're not releasing them, if you're not feeling them, then they actually get locked around your genitals and numb you out and put you over the edge too quickly.
Yeah, and block. Basically your pleasure's blocked. And what we're going to talk about is looking at how to move past some of these pleasure blocks. And it's not that you don't feel; it's just that you're blocking yourself from feeling. And the art of lasting longer is learning how to feel more. So while you're lasting longer, you're actually feeling more. So it's win-win. And it is that simple as just recognizing what's happening for you. And the other thing too is that while you're in lovemaking space, and if you want to try this, you're probably better off just trying it on your own, self-pleasuring, and just see how it feels, and just take note of what you actually feel in your sex center, in your genitals. And with the actual point of no return, like where you're coming, if that's a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is the start, 10 is the point of no return, is to actually build up to a point where your point of no return might be sort of, say, an 8 or something like that, or even a 9. But get to that point, and just before you get to that point is to stop. And what you do then is you just stop and you take 3 or 4 really deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe in, and do that 3 or 4 times, and just see what you feel, and start again. And if you lose a bit of your erection, that's okay. And actually, if it does go down a bit, that's actually a good sign, because you're moving the energy away from the tip of your penis. We call that the lingam. You're moving it away from the tip of your penis, and what that does is that it spreads it through your body. And the breathing is a big part
of your full body pleasure, guys.
Yeah, the breathing is a big part of actually spreading the energy through your body and away from your sex center. If it stays in the end of your lingam or something like that, that's sort of where it feels like. If you just look at it, breathe on it, you're coming. So the idea is when you stop, and you can do this self-pleasuring, or you can do it in lovemaking, but simply just build up to just before the point of no return, and then breathe, and then come back down again, and keep doing that. Try it for 3 or 4 times, and just see how you feel, and then just stop, and then just take note of how you're feeling, and then just keep going. And if you do this in lovemaking and you do come, just notice how you feel, because even just by doing that simple little step as a beginning, it'll make your coming a lot more intense, a lot more pleasurable, and probably even start to take longer in your orgasm as well. So as soon as but simply breathing, it takes the energy away from your ejaculation and into your orgasm, and that's the recycling. And this is the tantric heart technique that we actually teach. It's not about stopping your pleasure, it's about actually recycling it and increasing it, so that you're not losing your energy, but you're actually recycling it up into your orgasm. And as you keep going and build up, your ejaculation will come up. And as soon as it gets to a point there, you stop and you breathe 3 or 4 times, and you'll just, after a while, you'll start to actually feel it go back down again. This is the ejaculation energy. You feel it go back down again, you come back from the edge. And as you're doing that, just imagine that it's coming back down, and then breathing it up into your orgasm. So you're sort of taking the energy away from your ejaculation and putting it into your orgasm. And if you imagine just how intense your ejaculation energy is, the desire, the drive, and all that sort of stuff, imagine how much more intensity that will add to your orgasm. And that's sort of the very basic thumbnail sketch of what we're doing about. The rest of it is a lot more complex. But to put it into context about where this takes you is that all men are multi-orgasmic. It's our natural place. And why we're conditioned out of that place is the fact that as men, it's get it up and get it over and done with. And
also that belief that men can only come once, and that their sexuality is like the microwave, beep, 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 30 seconds and they're done, when it's really not true.
The reality is, for men, it takes a man just as long as his partner to get into the beginning of this place. And if you could imagine that in a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the point of no return, by breathing your energy down, your ejaculation energy down and up into your orgasm, every time you do that, your 10 actually moves higher. It becomes the equivalent of your 11 or 12 or 13. And the more you get into this place, the more intense, and it's the orgasmic pleasure that you're increasing. It's your orgasmic pleasure that will take your 10, the point of no return, higher, 11, 12, 13. My personal belief, my personal experience in this place is I think it's unlimited. I think it's unlimited to the number of times you can do this and get past your previous 10 to 11 or 12 or 13. And the other thing too about this place of getting to your 10 is that with practice of managing your ejaculation, your 10 becomes the starting point. So when you actually get into this place and connect with your orgasmic pleasure, which is different to your ejaculation, when you connect with your orgasmic pleasure, it really starts at 10. So the idea of taking your ejaculation out and recycling that into your orgasm is that you go past the 10, if that makes sense. So the really good stuff for a man begins at his old point of no return.
So it's not about getting rid of that desire to come. It's actually about harnessing it and taking it into a whole new level. So that's, if you're, as a guy, you have any fear or resistance around starting to change what's been a lifelong way of being sexual, is just open your awareness to the possible amount of pleasure that you're actually bringing into your lovemaking. So it's not about missing out. It's actually about creating more for yourself, and you deserve it,
And if you're a young guy, and this is doesn't really fancy, just keep at the back of your mind at the moment, it's hormonal driven, your testosterone, and that's not a bad thing, but simply, and this still does apply to you. It's just a little bit harder because you've got that hormonal drive, that hormonal desire there, and just recognizing that there is a lot more. And the more you focus on that and aware and try these things, it might take you a bit longer than somebody who's past the testosterone hormone part. It might take you a bit longer as a young guy, but that doesn't mean that as you get older, it's going to be any less. In actual fact, it'll probably be much more because you're already got the awareness, you're used to it, and you know what's actually happening. So, and you can build your future sex life on connecting with yourself, connecting with this part of you, understanding how it works, becoming familiar with it. And as you get older, it'll become easier. But the good thing about that is that you're setting yourself up for a very awesome sex life for yourself as you get older. And with these skills, lovemaking gets better with age. So it's not that when the testosterone is cut it out. It's not that the testosterone gets in the way. When it does get out of the way, it becomes a choice. And if you choose to recognize that there's so much more for you, you can bring it into your life, and it's pretty, it's pretty awesome. It really does work. I mean, all the things that I talk about here are stuff that I've learned, and the more I find out, the more I realize I don't know. It's pretty awesome. And the other part of this too is that when you do go past 10, that's where the multi-orgasmic part starts. And you can feel a little bit of it before you go to 10. So if you've already got a bit of an idea, when you go past 10 is where it really becomes very, very intense. So if you could imagine what your ejaculation feels like when you've built it up, that's only a very small part of what your orgasmic energy is like. And when you go past 10, your orgasms happen, and you can have hundreds of orgasms that are much more intense and much more full body and last longer than what you're currently used to. So if you think where you're at now is pretty awesome, going past this place into what's next will blow your socks off, seriously. And this is why I say for men who don't have these skills, you're only getting 5, at best 10% of your capacity for pleasure. There's so much more. And it's not about not coming. You still have a choice, and you can choose. I'm not going to tell you how often you should come. It's your choice. And
listen to your own body.
Yeah, and you'll work out very quickly what your body wants, and will work out for you, and that's the best way. And if you take the Tantra pathway, the Tantric heart pathway that we're trying to explain here, that way is sustainable. It is about building your own pleasure, recycling your own pleasure, and keeping your heart energy, your ejaculation energy in your body. And the other thing too to remember too is that ejaculation energy is pure heart energy. If you remember in some of our previous webinars, we've talked about women bring sex into relationship, men bring heart. And the heart that a man has and he brings into the relationship is his ejaculation energy. When a man
is giving his all to create new life, is giving everything off him in that moment of ejaculation.
Yeah, and that's what creates life. That's how big the energy is in a man, and it's pure heart. And what we're talking about here is actually harnessing this heart energy into orgasmic energy.
Can you remind me about how to get past 10, Graham? Because that sounds like a pretty incredible thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
What did you say about that?
Getting past 10 is understanding that your ejaculation is pure heart energy, and remembering that what a man brings into a relationship is his heart. So to feel more of this, the ultimate sexual experience for a man is in a relationship, committed relationship. You can experience this with, a casual friend, but there's got to be a connection there, because it's the open heart connection that a man brings in that is the fuel for his ejaculation energy. What fuels ejaculation energy is heart energy, and that's what fuels your orgasmic energy. And the more orgasmic energy you create, the more heart energy you create. The more heart energy, the more ejaculation energy, and the more energy you've got to bring into your orgasmic pleasure. So that's the trade-off for a man, is that to go into this place, to go past the 10, what actually holds him in that place is him being able to feel his open heart, and to go there without fear, but to be vulnerable and to be really in that intimate, vulnerable place in a man that is very deep, very special, very sacred. And that's the energy that creates life. That's the energy that creates the ejaculation. And that's the energy that recycled into orgasm just keeps going and building and increasing in your body. And going past your 10 is what this is all about. And the more you go past your 10 into that orgasmic place, the multi-orgasmic place is actually really increasing your heart energy. And you don't have to do anything else apart from what you normally do with your partner. She'll pick it up. She'll pick up the intensity in you and where you are, your vulnerability in that place. She'll pick it up really quickly, because that's what she wants to feel from you. A woman wants to feel from her man his open heart.
It's very, very delicious.
And that's the fuel that drives the ejaculation. And the ejaculation recycled into orgasm is what actually really opens a man's heart. And that's the part of a man in that intensity that will really penetrate his partner. And her surrender to herself is opening up herself to receive this heart energy from her man.
I don't know what you're saying, Graham, but it's working for me. I can feel my body responding.
I'm concentrating.
Oops, sorry.
And this is all about, love making, the actual real meaning of making love. And for a man, this is what it's all about. And this is, the thumbnail sketch of managing your ejaculation and learning how to last longer. And it is as simple as stopping, taking some deep breaths, but also to be really selfish in yourself, to focus what's happening inside for you.
To notice what you're feeling in your body, not just your partner's body, but taking your attention back to you for a little while until you just notice where it is that you're feeling when your arousal is starting to build up. You've got to be noticing that in your body so that you can notice it sooner rather than later, because if you leave it too late, you're going to be over the edge. So just check in sooner. And as Graham was saying, when you get up to, if you're really trigger sensitive, you might want to start noticing about 6 or 7. And when you get to that point is just noticing and taking those deep breaths. So get used to checking in, taking your attention off your partner or whatever fantasy you might have it going on in your head, taking it down into your body and notice what are the sensations that you're feeling in your body, so that you can start to get aware of when your ejaculation intensity is building up, and then breathing it through. When it gets to a 6 or a 7, just pausing, taking 3 or 4 deep breaths. And what you'll notice is that if you've really done this properly, you'll notice that the intensity or the hardness of your erection has gone down just a little bit. And that can be harder sometimes for younger guys because they've got more hormonal energy driving that intensity. But just if you're finding that it's difficult for you to let go, is just notice that and just be okay with that, and ask yourself, what would it take for me to let go of all this energy in my cock and breathe it through my body? So you're not losing that pleasure. That's important to know. You're not losing it, but you're just spreading it from the end of your cock up through your body. And then when you get used to having that more intense feeling in your body, then you can start hooking on to that ejaculation energy and breathing that up into your orgasm. So it's just starting to get used to those different sensations.
And man, really important to be selfish. Because if you're focusing on your partner, you're fantasizing, or porn. Porn has got a place at the very beginning, but outside that, the focus for most men goes onto the screen. And if you're focusing on anything that's outside of yourself, whether it's a screen or your partner or fantasy, you're really going to struggle with this. The most important thing is in this process of stopping and breathing and going inside, being selfish, going inside, and seeing what you're feeling is connecting with what's happening in you. There's a lot going on inside you that when you come, it just, it just goes, it's game over, and you miss all the good stuff. And the only way to really find that good stuff is nobody can do it for you, is to actually be selfish and be inside you. And the irony of being selfish is the more you go in here, the more you feel, the more your partner will feel you. And that's what she wants most of all.
Because, sometimes there's nothing more beautiful and more juicy than for a woman to have a man who's really present and in the moment, in the experience with her. And if you're in fantasy or you're focusing on her, then a woman doesn't feel your presence inside of your body. And so it's really, it might sound like it's selfish, but it's not, because if you can feel you, a woman can feel you as well, because we're really good at that sort of stuff. We can notice where your energy is. So you're not,
absolutely,
if you go into fantasy, or if you really kind of shut down and you're not present, a woman can feel that abandonment, and she loses interest quite quickly, or she feels like you're in your head and you're just going for the goal and that's the only thing that you're after. She will feel that and not be as interested. So if one of your concerns is that if you do last longer, is anyone going to be interested in you for that long? And I can tell you that if you're really connecting to your heart and you're getting more present in your body, what's happening is you're getting juicier, you're getting more attractive to your partner. So that alone is going to be a way of getting interest in your woman.
Yep. And really important to understand that, lasting longer is only a very, very small part of it. It's how your partner reacts to you while you're in that place. If you're on your own, really important to practice this, because if you do have a partner, find a partner and you go into lovemaking, she'll pick it up. If she doesn't pick it up, move on, next one. Seriously, fellas, don't waste your time. This is a special gift that you're getting, you're learning. It's about your own sacredness and connection with your sexuality. Don't waste it.
And if you are in a relation,
do not waste it at all. If a woman doesn't get this part of you, don't.
She's not ready.
She's not ready for it, and that's why we talk about a lot in our work around from the man's perspective, and for the man how to be with his woman, and also from the woman's perspective and how to be with her man. And it's really important, because this in itself, this one particular piece is a real game changer in any relationship, actually. And we do take this part of it quite seriously. So really important to recognize that while you're doing your breathing is to actually be selfish and focus what's happening in me. Even if if you close your eyes and just go inside and just focus on what's actually happening. And while you're taking some deep breaths, there's some other things you can do too. And one of them is a thing called PC squeezes. And if you want to know, if you don't know what a PC squeeze is next time you're urinating, is to stop the flow. And those muscles that stop the flow are your PC muscles. And just do it once or twice to identify it, but don't do it again because it can create bladder problems. But is to focus on what that is, and once you've identified them, is if you're sitting at the traffic lights or at the computer, is to do them in groups of 10. And the idea of this is that if you could imagine a PC squeeze, and it is actually about 5 different parts. You do the one muscle squeeze, there's 5 different parts. And excuse me, the same
sexuality is simple.
Yeah, the same exercise of stopping the flow of urine is the same as choking off a fart as well. So when you do this, it goes right through that whole muscle group between your legs. And it's really important to identify this muscle group. And the other, what that does is, if you could imagine at the base of your spine, your sacrum, a football bladder. And in that football bladder is
for those of you who are into football.
Yeah, well, just imagine a balloon so big. And
depending on the colours, depending on which team you go for.
Yeah, whether it's a round one or an oblong one, or whether you throw it or kick it. That's another story. And just imagine that when you do a PC squeeze, that if you've got all the pleasure, your pleasure sensations, your orgasmic energy, if it's at the end of your cock ready to ejaculate, you miss out all the good stuff. If you can sort of breathe that energy back to your sacrum, to the base of your spine, and when you do a PC squeeze, if you breathe in, and then the second time you breathe in is to do some PC squeezes as you breathe in. And what that does, if you can imagine that football bladder at the base of your spine, is it just squeezes all the feel-good energy through your whole body. And that's the idea of a PC squeeze. The other thing that a PC squeeze does if you're in lovemaking is if you can imagine that's your lingam, your penis. When you do a PC squeeze, it does that. It moves up and down. And if you're inside making love, you're on top. The woman's G-spot is above the hand. So when you do a PC squeeze, that's what happens. It goes up and it hits her G-spot. And if she's doing PC squeezes as well, what that does is it pushes her G-spot down. So you can be in lovemaking place and not doing much movement and having a hell of a good time just simply by doing your PC squeezes. So PC squeezes are really important. And the other thing too is that when you are below your 10, the PC squeeze is about spreading the energy away from the end of your lingam, away from the end of your cock. When you get past 10, a PC squeeze is not about spreading the energy. The PC squeeze is about dropping the ejaculation energy down, and it's not actually squeezing, it's letting go. So the idea of practicing a PC squeeze is to actually, before 10, is to squeeze, to spread the energy through your body. And once you get your orgasmic energy flowing, the idea of the PC squeeze is still to do your PC squeeze, but not focusing on spreading, but in actually letting go and dropping down your ejaculation energy. Because when you're past 10, as soon as you lose your focus for a split second, you automatically, you come. So the focus on staying present in your body really magnifies when you get over 10. It's like riding a really powerful motorbike fast, that if you break your concentration for a split second, you're upside down in the bushes. And it's the same thing in this too. So it's really important to focus, be in your body, connected with your body, and using your PC squeezes under 10 to spread the energy. Above the 10, it's using a PC squeeze, but to drop. So instead of squeezing your energy up above 10, it's letting it go and dropping the ejaculation down, energy down, and then as you keep moving, it comes back up into your orgasmic pleasure, and having your orgasmic pleasure, spreading that through your body. And you can do your PC squeezes, but also recognize that when you do that, it brings your ejaculation energy in again as well. So these are things that it's trial and error. And it's really important to be in your body, to be selfish, and to recognize what's going on. And the important thing in this place is that this is real. It really works. The important thing in this place is to try it, to practice it, and if you're having trouble with it, either send us an email or whatever. We do a lot of Skype sessions with men, with couples, around doing this, and there's no nakedness or anything on this. You don't have to do that.
It's not a live demonstration necessarily.
No, and it's about breathing. It's about doing your PC squeezes and understanding what's going on in your body. And once you connect with that, you can then also ask questions. What's happening? Why? When I get to this point, and this is what happens. And quite often, it just takes it might even be a 5-minute conversation to understand what's going on. And it could be a problem happening right here, but the solution could be way over here somewhere. And it's really hard to see that in yourself, and having somebody from the outside asking you questions about, okay, what does this feel? What to happen? And this, okay, so when you get to this point, try this. And it might simply be another breathing technique, but you're using your energy in a different way. It might be another technique in your lovemaking. Everybody's different. And what we've tried to do in this talk is to keep it as simple as possible, so you can get started. And if you are started, you've got a bit of a picture of what's next. And if you hit the wall in what's next, give us give us an email or something like that, and it might even be just a two or three sentences to straighten it out. So the most important thing is to recognize that there is a way, and all you got to do is just ask, and it is that simple.
And for those of you who do have a partner and who would like to have a good time, as well as supporting you to learn to last longer, is just get your partner to allow you to sit in her lap, and you have your cock basically right in her lap, and she can grab a big handful of lubricant, and she can be massaging your cock or your lingam, and you can be practicing these breathing techniques, and all you need to do is just relax and focus on yourself, and she can have a good time with her hand on the throttle. And then it's a bit about the communication of what number are you at, what are you feeling, just kind of use it as a bit of a laboratory experiment. So it's not about getting it right, it's just about taking the time to play with it and explore what's going on. And as a woman, it can feel really empowering to be sitting there and having your man vulnerable in front of you, practicing his skills, practicing his scales. So it can be a fun but also very valuable thing to add into your sexual repertoire. So give that a try.
Yeah, and it is a relationship game changer, because for the man to have more of his sexual pleasure, to experience more of this, it's opening his heart, and opening his heart to his partner. And that's why, for a man, the ultimate sexual experience for a man is in a committed relationship. And
if you are a woman doing that, is to really remember to take a few deep breaths as well, because that helps you to get more into your body, and your touch will feel different to your man if you're breathing and present in your body.
And anyway, thank you. That's pretty much our thumbnail sketch tonight.
Some things to try.
Yeah, and again, we supply these webinars regularly now, free of charge, and what they do is give people a bit of an indication of what's next. These skills of learning how to last longer and have more depth in your lovemaking, lasting longer for men, connecting with your multi-orgasmic self, and woman finding your G-spot and connecting with that part of you are skills that we bring into all our clients, into their relationships. What it does is that it brings life back into your relationship. If you're stuck in a rut, you've been together for a long time, you're wondering what's next, this stuff stands appealing. This stuff really works, and it is a game changer. And we've seen it happen time and time again, where couples bring this into their lovemaking, their whole life, their whole relationship changes. On the outside, people are looking in going, wow, okay, what have these got? In their relationship, they're more together, they're more in themselves, they're happier, they're more settled.
It's not just a sexual technique. It's a shift in your energy, a shift in the way that you're being. So it sounds mechanical, but the outcome is not. The outcome is life changing.
And we've given a mixture of mechanical, we've given a mixture of of the energetic and what it means, and it is a big place. It's a game changer, and it's well worth the effort. Some people get to it really quickly, some people take a bit longer.
And if the energy talk sounds a bit woo-woo, don't trust our opinion. Have a go and see for yourself.
And you'll see, and it is basic, and you will find a difference very, very quickly. It is that easy. So anyway, thank you for your time, and
hope to catch you next time.
Yeah.